like to call to order the regular monthly business meeting of Avery County Board of Commissioners, October 6, 2025. Dennis, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Lord, we are grateful to you tonight that we come together as this body with a purpose, Lord, of dealing with issues pertaining to our county and all the people that are part of it. We pray for your leadership, your guidance in all things, that what we say and do will be honorable to you. We give you thanks for the people around us that serve, those that work so hard for the people in Avery County. We're thankful for the beauty that in our world, blessed nature that we enjoy every day. We just give you praise for it all. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Would you lead us in prayer?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To do a little house thing here for a minute. I need a motion to amend the agenda to add 2 budget amendments for the school system, and that will go under 344 bills. 2.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll move on to 3.2, proclamation awards, which we have none tonight. And then we'll go to 3.2B, public comment. And if you want to speak in public comment, we'll see what we've got here. You have to sign the sheet. And while he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and read. The time limit for any comment to the board is 3 minutes. Board members are not expected to comment or take any action on matters during public comment. Any individual speaking during public comment shall address the entire board. Any person who willfully interrupts, disturbs, or disrupts the session will be asked to leave the meeting. If you have any questions about public comment, copies of the public comment policy are on the table with a sign-up sheet. If you'd like to speak to an agenda item or speak during public comment, you must sign up on the sheets at the door. Time limit to speak to an agenda item is also 3 minutes. Please silence all cell phones or electronic devices. Nobody? Okay. We'll move to 3.2D, board appointments. The Rural Transportation Advisory Committee, and our person on that has been Commissioner Young, and he is shown that he wants to be reappointed. So I need a motion to reappoint.
Now, wait a minute.
Okay.
Some of the rest of them want to serve on it. I'd be more than glad to let you.
I'll answer that statement by saying I nominate Mr. Young to continue on that.
And I can second that. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
I'm not going to ask for opposed.
No, we're good.
All opposed.
Okay. We'll move to the Avery Airport Authority, and that is from an application for Roy B. Smith to be considered for appointment to the Avery Airport Authority. This application has been reviewed, so I need a motion to appoint Roy B. Smith to the Avery Airport Authority.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we'll have a review application for Parks and Recreation, and that is Mr. Chad Morgan. So we'll review that, and then we'll vote on that next month.
You have one person?
Yes. Yeah.
And only one act?
Yeah.
Is it that?
Yes. Well done.
So we're going to skip the public hearing that's to take place at 6:30. So we're going to move on down to 3.3B, Avery County Tourism Development Authority update, Ms. Shannon Carter.
Thank you so much for having me. So just to give you a little update, the board members and I are very thankful to have this opportunity to serve and enhance the tourism for our county. As we have gotten into our roles on the board, we've realized how important it's going to be going forward for us to have an executive director. This would be a full-time person who is employed to help us promote tourism within the county. The main role of this individual will be to help us strategically plan our marketing and media placements, and to oversee the budget, work with Caleb and the finance office. We hope to find someone who has extensive experience in the tourism industry and they're familiar with the state rules, kind of the regulations that are involved with the spending of occupancy tax dollars. We as a board are passionate about making sure that we promote the tourism, Christmas tree, the Choose and Cut Christmas tree businesses, agritourism, and other tourism type businesses. We also hope that we can grow the outdoor tourism, the hiking, folks who value our land, value the beautiful places that we enjoy as locals. So, let's see if I have any other items that we've missed. Also, as you know, we are restricted. 1/3 of our annual budget can be spent on infrastructure items. That area is not clean and cut as to what that entails. So a director will help us navigate what items we can spend on. So to achieve this, we have, I think Caleb has shared with you the job description that we've created. We would like to assemble a search team committee that consists of a commissioner or two, if you're interested, and our board, of course, along with another collector from within the county that's not a part of the board. So we're in the process of assembling that committee and would love to hear from you if you are interested. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, I know whenever we were fortunate enough to work this through the General Assembly and get this set up a few years ago, we realized we were starting from ground zero, not having been able to have these funds available from a county standpoint. Municipal in the county, yes, but not from a county unincorporated area. So as that began to build, we realized that once the income began to come, that it would come to a point where there would meet somebody to direct that. So this is not an unexpected movement, I don't believe, and one that I'm looking forward to, because I think it gives some direction and some meat to the concept, because we've always just been working on the idea up until this point, really. And I think this will help with that. So I'm very appreciative of y'all putting that together and presenting this.
Thank you. We are excited to be able to bring tourism our way a little. You know, it gets focused in Banner Elk and some of the areas, Sugar Mountain, Beach Mountain, but we are excited to be able to, because we do have businesses here that are tourism businesses in the lower parts of the county. And so if we can just spread those dollars out a little bit and help capture some of these dollars that are being driven to Boone. They come here for the day and then they stay in Boone. So we're really excited about the future of this board and of the tourism dollars for us.
The other thing, I'm grateful that you mentioned finding someone with some expertise, because folks don't realize how complicated the process is for expending these funds and how very specific things have to be done, and it cannot be used just for general purposes. We have tried in the legislature for some time to get some latitude on that expenditure, but it's very, very specifically tied up. So
it is.
I would applaud that I was pleased to see that there was a focus in there of finding someone that has an awareness of that complexity of the expenditures and how that might be controlled, so I appreciate that.
Yes, we have no desire to be in trouble for anything that we spend. So in conversations that we have been a part of with Visit NC, it has become very apparent that there's a great selection of folks who really do know. They've navigated the different counties and they've read all of the horror stories, and so I think we'll be in good shape to move forward. But
So how are you planning on utilizing the employee as a TDA employee or county employee? How's your thought process on that?
so they will be a county employee. Caleb and I have worked on the kind of the structure for that, but they will strictly oversee tourism. Eventually, we would like to be able to have maybe someone who could help with events and planning other things within the county. But primarily, we want someone who knows the rules, is a pretty good marketer. You know, we foresee developing a well-established web presence that's essentially an online visitor center that they can plan their trip, you know, before they come. So, you know, that's our primary focus right now.
Is this budgeted into the TDA budget, or?
It is.
It is.
Yes, sir, it is. With the guidance of our finance officer.
It would be a county employee funded by the TDA, so it'd be like a reimbursement, and that will give this person the added benefit of being a county employee, including health insurance and state retirement.
Do you have a specific timeline in mind?
We hope to have someone hired before the end of the year. We would like to go live with the application the end of this month, so that we can begin interviews and consideration. That will give them a few months to get settled and, you know, to start running some advertisements for some of our summer events and festivals and that sort of thing. So.
And I'd like to just, as being one who sits as a bystander in these meetings for fiscal reasons, I just want to brag on this board. I want to brag on this board for appointing a board that has a lot of great ideas, and they're really working hard, and they want to see this money go to use to benefit the citizens of the county as well as the people who come to visit our beautiful county.
Yeah, our businesses and our families are most important. So
One thing that we've, starting from scratch, do we feel that we are beginning to get a full receipt of occupancies that exist? In other words, is everybody paying that's supposed to be paying, is what, you know, based on this? It's kind of...
for the most part, I believe we are. I think Caleb's had a few folks who have added recently. Mm-hmm. Anyone that I've had contact with that maybe wasn't collecting, they'll say, "Oh, I need to know how to do that." So it seems that we are really capturing everybody out there. So.
Yeah. And a year ago, we hired a company to kind of help us capture that data, and it gave us a snapshot of what we should be trending towards. Now, the difficulty with Airbnb and Vrbo, some of those rental agencies, they remit at the time of booking, not at the time of stay, as opposed to a hotel that remits at the time of stay. So it's a little bit of variance there, but we feel like we've really done great on the collection side of things. There's a few that's trickled in. We did the mailing campaign in the spring, and that grasped the few that's not on our large third-party rental agencies. But and I'll report this as part of mine, but numbers are looking very good year over year. Of course, we just started August of last year. But August of this year has already trended well up from a year ago this time, even pre-hurricane.
Yeah, it's been fun to see the steady increase. Mm-hmm. So, thank you. Please let me know if you have further questions.
Thank you.
we're going to put the 3.3C tax administrator report on Sunday Turtle.
Please approve our collections for the month of September of $2,509,802.80.
Need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Please approve my releases for $3,352.23, and that one is strictly on me. I keyed conservation easements, didn't realize when the actual people own that they're totally exempt, so I had to release that part.
With, I noticed it said rebuild corporate owners.
For, that, it's not all conservation easement. The bulk of it was, but the ones that say rebuild are ones that we build the wrong person and then rebuild it, released it and rebuild a new person.
The end result will be that release amount will be less when those people pay their taxes.
Basically, yes, when they pay their taxes, yes. And if it makes you feel any better, I did discover $9,000 in tax dollars so I'm offsetting this a little bit, so. I did do some discovery bills.
I had to ask you.
Yeah.
That's fine, it's fine. Like I said, that's all on me. That's just, I did it.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then, here's my typo, Woody. My sales in September of this year were 86 sales, we're at 62%. Last year, in 2024, we had 65 sales at 62%. And just to give you an idea of what's happening, I have a house, I spoke to a realtor this morning. She called me about an address, and she was telling me about a house that she's listed for sale for $950,000. Now, granted, it hasn't sold for that, but the people that are selling it bought it in 2020 for $450,000. So that's kind of what we're looking at. If that house sells, it's basically double what we have.
Well, that sales ratio, you know, that is not atypical. Maybe not to that extent, but.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, technically, that's why you do reval, is to equal out your sales ratio, but yeah, it's low, and things are selling. Right now, if you want to sell something, now's the time to do it. Y'all have any more questions? Okay, thanks.
We probably need to do all these resolutions at the same time. It won't give anybody else unless they can do it in 10 minutes, their little presentation, and,
Does anybody here get their presentation here within 10 minutes? Because we've got a public hearing at 6:30, and I just don't think I got enough
I
time to
don't
get
want to rush
through
it.
everything. So
do you want me to, do a little update with the assistant county manager stuff
yeah,
and get it over with? I can do it in 10 minutes.
we're going to go down to 3.48 county manager report.
So, we got the temporary office buildings for, senior center. They're getting set up. They've got ramps built on them. There's a couple of other things that they have to do to them, and then they'll be able to move into those temporary office buildings. In your informational items, there's just a couple of things. Volunteer Avery got a grant from Sabelco. There's also a grant that we received for the victim services position. And then Miss Shirley has sent a little letter from volunteer Avery. It tells a few numbers about the houses that have been built. It says Samaritan's Purse is currently working on 9 new mobile homes, 5 stick-built homes, 9 major repairs, and 4 materials projects. Appalachian Service Project has approved 14 homes and have 10 in the paperwork process. Chief Cares has 9 families going into Blue Haven. 8 of the survivors that we've been helping have purchased a new home or new mobile home using FEMA money and donations. And then it looks like there's been like 45 families getting new homes right now. So I thought that was something good. Okay, now you can recess until 6:30.
Well, let's take a recess till 6:30.
Using seniors. It's 6:30 according to this. 6:30.
I'll go 6:30. All right, let's go out of recess and back in open session. I need a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're at the second public hearing to receive public comments regarding the upcoming application submission to the CDBG Neighborhood Revitalization Program to assist in the construction of a new senior center facility. Miss Michelle Ball.
Thank you. See if I can read. This is basically a rerun of the last one. Second, we are required to have 2 public hearings for this application. So the purpose of it is to give opportunity for citizen input concerning the application. The county plans to apply to the Department of Commerce for CDBG Neighborhood Revitalization Program funding in the amount of $5 million to assist the construction of a new senior center facility. The department has approximately $12.2 million budgeted for the program and a maximum award of $5 million for Hurricane Helene affected counties. Communities, actually, not necessarily counties. The program provides grants to local governments for housing and housing-related activities and public facilities. And it is, majority of the CDBG beneficiaries, or 51%, must be considered low and moderate income or having household income less than 80% of the county median, which for Avery County, 2-person household is $52,700 for 2025. The beneficiaries of the project, of this project, are regarded as a special population, being it's going to be a senior center. We're serving the elderly, and most are on benefits, and so everyone will be assumed low income for this project. This will be the 4th round of CDBG NR funding that the county's applied for since the Department of Commerce reinstated the program. The county's done 2 housing repair replacement grants and currently has an open CDBG neighborhood revitalization project to establish the domestic violence home within the county. This application is due to the Department of Commerce at 5 p.m. on October 29th, 2025. And my goal is to get it out next week. I've got just a few things, just a few more things to get, and we should have it ready to send out next week.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for her? Any input from the public? If not, we need to approve the, okay.
We need to go out for a session.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Need a motion to public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now, I'm going to read this resolution for the Avery County application for the new development block grant funding for the 2025 Neighborhood Revitalization Program. Whereas the Avery Board of Commissioners has previously indicated desire to assist in community development efforts for the housing within the county, and whereas the Board of Commissioners has held 2 public hearings concerning the proposed application for community development block grant funding to reconstruct the county's senior center damaged during Hurricane Helene to benefit low and moderate income elderly individuals. And whereas the Board of Commissioners wishes the county to pursue a formal application for community development block grant funding to benefit low and moderate income individuals. And whereas the Board of Commissioners certifies it will meet all federal regulatory and statutory requirements of the state of North Carolina Community Block Grant Program. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Avery County Board of Commissioners that Avery County is authorized to submit a formal application to the North Carolina Department of Commerce for approval of the community development block grant to benefit low and moderate income elderly individuals by constructing a new senior center. Do I need to put the adopt?
I'm sorry?
Do I need to have the adopted day here? That's not a problem. Okay. All right, I need a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We're gonna move down to, oh, yeah. We need to go to 3.3A, Avery County Tropical Storm Warning, Hazard Action Reviews for Tommy Batts.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Permission to pass out the folders.
Okay.
So good evening, Commissioners, citizens as well as staff. 1 year ago tonight, this is a busy little place. You were leaving rescue and going into recovery, and recovery will continue for many, many years to come. And I know very well what you're going through because I've been through that situation before, and I've got a clicker to help me tonight. So I was tasked I was called in early August of this year to assist your county with after action. A little bit about me and my background before I get into it. My full-time job is a county emergency management director. I work on the coast. I deal with hurricanes once, 2, 3 times a year if I don't deploy across the state. In my time in emergency services of 28 years, I've deployed out of county over 100 times. I've worked over 25 hurricanes. I worked one this past Monday morning for a full activation that turned right. I was in Western North Carolina Wednesday before the storm hit. I came with a team of 6 of the incident management team. We went to Haywood County. As y'all know, the storm hit Wednesday evening with rain. We had rain before the storm that we'd never had before. And then Helene came in on Thursday night, Friday morning, and devastated all of Western North Carolina. This county, Mitchell County, and Yancey County were 3 worst hit counties. I worked 13 days in Western North Carolina as a Type 1 incident commander in Haywood County, overseeing 550 employees and responders from across the nation. Went home for 6, and I came back for 8 more in Yancey County. So I lived what y'all lived. Each and every one of you was here and went above and beyond what you were supposed to do, and the reason you only had 6 fatalities. Every person that lives here did something to benefit somebody else. And I'm proud of each and every one of you. And every one of you need to go home and be proud of what you've done and what you're doing now. You will grow to be a bigger and better county in years to come. And with your tourism, talking about the tourism, they'll bring that here. So a little bit about Helene. Helene was a Category 4 storm that hit South Florida, or the northern panhandle, came up through Georgia, South Carolina, and came through us and dumped all its rain. The flooding and landslides and wind damage was the worst we'd ever seen in Western North Carolina. It was the deadliest hurricane since Hurricane Katrina. To date, logged was 106 deaths and over $53 billion worth of damage. Next. Do I need to move so y'all can see? Okay. Next. Flooding in Mitchell, Avery, and Watauga counties were catastrophic. Mount Mitchell received 23.3 inches of rain. So I did a lot of research prior to coming here and prior to the meeting here. Did anybody know in 2004 when Francis came in, you got 23.61 inches of rain? You had more rain in 2004 during Hurricane Francis than you did in Helene. The problem was we got all the rain the 24, 72 hours before the storm. It filled every one of our valleys. You all here already had flooding on Wednesday night. We didn't have that rain in 2004. And then in 2005, Ivan came along. And we've not had an event since then. People got complacent. We didn't know. And then the Weather Service told us something and none of us realized the extreme magnitude. There was thousands of landslides here across the west, as well as you've lost over 60,000 Christmas trees. That's one of your large incomes here. That's one of what you're known for. Almost all of our roads had damage, if not washed away, as well as our bridges. 6 fatalities and one still never has been found. And hopefully one day we can find closure for that family.
It's my first day.
It's fine. Is the up or down button doing it?
Huh?
It's the up or down, or right, left.
No, I clicked something I shouldn't have. There we go.
There you go. So at one point in time, all state roads in this county were closed. 450 people were in shelters. Total power outage with 3 different utility companies. All cell service down. And UHF, a VHF channel, radio channel, tower was damaged, as well as our Viper tower went down at some point, about 72 hours out. And then downtown Newland flooded pre-storm. Next. So 48 hours before the storm, we were in flood warnings. We had flooding all over western North Carolina. There's the picture. And the Weather Service was talking catastrophic flooding, history-making floods. None of us could base what that would do, where it would go. And when it rains here, it all goes to the valley. And it was a catastrophic event for Avery and western North Carolina. Next. So this process started in early August. August 19th, I came and I sat down with the assistant county manager, the emergency management coordinator / fire marshal, and we sat down and had a game plan set pre then. At 1 p.m. on that Tuesday, we sat down with all the county department heads, a lot of y'all were there, and we went through items, what was good, what was bad. A survey was done, documentation was done, as well as on Tuesday night, met with the North Carolina Forest Service, State Emergency Management, the countywide EMS system, all the fire chiefs, and the rescue squad. And they gave input. And then on Wednesday morning, I spent 2 hours with the sheriff and his command staff looking at what went wrong, what went happened, and I took all that information and it was all taken back, compiled, and this is a brief summary of what we found. Overall response for Helene highlighted the resilience of the community in the county. Everybody stepped up and did what needed to be done. There's nobody in this county that did not step up and do above and beyond what their call of duty was. The strong sense of unity. Each fire department, the rescue squad, EMS, the sheriff's office, county staff stepped up and did what needed to be done. Everybody worked together under stressful situations with the loss of communication, access, and everybody was on an island. Bridges were gone, roads were gone. I couldn't make a phone call. I couldn't call you on the radio, as well as later on during the storm and after the storm, agencies came. The citizens, the communities, the faith-based groups all stepped up and did everything that possibly could be done to help each other. Areas of improvement. Helene revealed some gaps within the county. Current EM staffing levels are not adequate to support 24-hour operations. In the emergency management office, you have a very small department, and I come from a county with the same staffing, if not less. County staff, over time, training county staff to help fill the vacant spots that are critical during an EOC activation, hurricane, wildfire, ice storm, power outages, large snow events, blizzards. County staff learning how to do additional jobs in the EOC to take that load off the 1, 2, and 3 people that may work. The lack of assistance in the communication world. Avery County has VHF radio channels and North Carolina Viper. Viper is a statewide system. You do not have 100% Viper across the county. And we'll get into that a little bit more. And Viper, for ones that may not understand the VHF and the Viper, that is as simple as when the fireman or the police officer, or the emergency management person, or the fire marshal, or the sheriff pick up a radio, they can communicate across the county to any agency in the county. And we do not have a common single system that works all across the whole county. Last was, back up one.
I got excited.
It's fine. The other part was pre-positioned outside agencies. No one here knew we would need outside agencies. No one knew we would be cut off from the outside world. But by Friday evening and Saturday morning, we were. So requesting in the future, if there's a threat of this type or any other type, pre-positioned in North Carolina Swiftwater Rescue Teams, incident management teams, additional EMS units, fire units, as well as sheriff's deputies from across the state. Lessons learned. We've highlighted a critical preparedness, coordination, and resource management. County staff were unprepared for the catastrophic conditions encountered during this event. There's no county in western North Carolina that was prepared and ready for what we got exposed to. Storm preparedness checklist. I've provided staff with a preparedness checklist. It's a sample. Having a checklist. What does the tax office do? What does the sheriff do? What's the county commissioners do as a chair? What's the county manager's office? I prepared and have given a Word document of preparedness list that you can take and adjust for your next all-hazard event. When I say all hazards, it could be any event, man-made or natural, as well as some resource gaps, looking at contracts and identifying them and having this stuff established prior to the next event. Areas for improvement, the after action identified key areas where the county needs to improve the emergency management capabilities. The biggest thing that was found was emergency management and the fire marshal's office should separate. You should have an emergency management division to focus on nothing but emergency management duties and responsibilities set and enforced by the general statute. Also, the county fire marshal's office needs to be their own department. Separating that will allow the fire marshal's office to do fire code stuff, be the liaison with the fire departments and the fire commission, and allow emergency management to plan, prepare, respond, and handle mitigation and recovery access. And I can speak on that later at additional time, but I know how that is and what happens to that. But allowing each department to have their single responsibilities will better prepare your jurisdiction for the next event. Holding mock events, tabletops, looking at plans and standard operating for major events. Having plans and procedures in place will help y'all in training. Training is a large thing. County staff, the fire departments, the rescue squad, the sheriff's office, the county administration, training staff up for the next event to help fill all these gaps. And the good thing about training, you can stay right there. Training things is cheap. It doesn't cost a lot. We can run it through the community college. We can bring in outside. We can partner with our region and host these training classes to support everybody, as well as North Carolina Emergency Management and North Carolina OEMS and the State Fire Marshal's Office host these classes. You just may have to travel and pay for room and meals. Known gaps. Dedicated emergency management staff need to be focused on EM duties. The Fire Marshal's Office needs to be handling fire marshal duties. No single countywide communication infrastructure is reliable. At least one additional Viper tower will be needed in this county to give 90% coverage mobile to mobile. When I say mobile to mobile, that's the radios in the car. I don't think you can put enough towers for portable to portable, but at least one additional Viper tower will be needed for 90% of coverage. EMS units were available at the time of the event. They were staffed, they were working, but when we lost every road, lost every bridge, trees down, they were isolated. They were on their own little island, just like the fire department, just like the sheriff and his deputies, just like county commissioners and county staff. You were cut off from the outside world. You could not go, you could not call, and y'all adapted and overcome. And staffing shortfalls during the event, during the critical phases, bringing on additional staffing, doing the mutual aid with another county, or making a state request could better assist you in the future. Training needs, conduct tabletop exercises. We come in this room with county staff, and I know there's probably a county department head meeting every month. What would we do if we had something? In a prime example, we've got elections coming up in November, correct? Elected officials. And next year, do a tabletop and have people come in and work these small little events. If nothing happens, it was a great day. But what's that do? It brings everybody to the table. I'll pick on the Grandfather Mountain. You have your big event every year. Bring everybody to the table, work through this process, because we follow the same process for every event. It's just some are bigger, some are smaller, depending on how many agencies. Offering Pacific position training for the EOC. Plans, operations, finance, logistics, as well as all the documentation to go with that. I know if you've dealt with any of the reimbursement process, what car did they drive? How long did they drive it? How many miles? Their timesheet matched their 214. Going through all this. I do it every day. But going through that in simply is helping staff understand that. Do a Friday form day where you offer Friday morning from 8 to 10, people come in and learn how to do the forms. Because when it comes down to reimbursement, we need to get every dollar we can to put back in our general fund. As well as resource management, I just talked in that, I jumped into it, but how to go through this whole process. You've not had to go through this since 2004, 2005. This sits right here with me. I think about this each and every night when I go to bed. The wildfire risk here in western North Carolina is extreme. I read the long-range forecast for November and December, and we're going to look like California. The long-range forecast for wildfires in western North Carolina will go on for the next decade. How do we overcome this? Fire departments, EMS, emergency management, sheriff's office, the local jurisdictions, work with our partner agencies, as well as the North Carolina Forest Service, as well as our cooperative extension. What can we do now to prevent that fire? And it's not when, it's where it's gonna be. Where in western North Carolina will that happen? If we can clear paths, hazard reduction, burning, mulching, chipping, and writing plans and looking at where it may happen, our fire breaks are gone. All our timber's on the ground. That timber's gonna lay on that ground for the next 10 years. And it takes one spark, one careless camper, or one lightning strike. So as a county, and I know your primary industry is our primary income is Christmas trees, can we go build a buffer? Can we cut tree limbs and can we trim out and clear out vegetation around some of them? Same way with all our homes that live up here in the mountains. I'm staying in a mountain house for this week. But what can we do to try to prevent that? Cooperation with all wildland partners and our fire departments are crucial. And that threat will be here for the next decade. Recommendations: Avery County employees or partner agencies were tested beyond their experience and did everything they could. The next part is working together through the recovery stage. And I know Miss Cindy over there is about this neat in recovery. Who brought it tonight with all the new homes? Who brought it? All the new homes. That's the rebuilding process. And that will take years to come. And you work on it each and every day. But county staff working together with our partner agencies, our faith-based organizations, will build us back and we'll come back stronger. So in this survey, there's a documentation that was given to the emergency services directors as well as the county manager's office and the commissioners. It's set up in working groups. There's a million tasks in here. I can't write every one of them down, but in that 38-page document, there are simple groups. Communication. The gentleman in the back deals with communication. Have a group come together and look at where our gaps are and how we can achieve. There's some simple is, y'all made the decision, I think about 1 year ago this week, to bring on a contract PO, correct? Evaluate that, see how that's working today. Is it to the point you need to bring that person on as a full-time position in the next budget? Or is it better to do contract? There's items like that written in there. Generators for some of the fire stations that are not on emergency power. There's a list, there's probably 40 or 50 items on there, but to take county staff and our partner agencies, bring them to the table, small working groups to go through and evaluate these items, and once they've been evaluated, come back and look at them. A lot of them are simply as training, education, and some policy change that don't cost a lot of money. Now the North Carolina Viper Tower, 1 to 3 million probably, and I'll say that out loud. And I know unless y'all got a pot full of money, you're not going to throw that money out, but there's a lot of small things in there, meetings and tabletops that won't cost you a bunch of money. Y'all stand strong. Y'all did an amazing job, each and every one of you. And to only have 6 fatalities is amazing. And I'm open for questions from everybody in the group of what I saw, what I heard.
First of all, thank you for putting this together. It was a painful process because whenever we began with this after action, we knew both the victories and the obstacles that we encountered because we were there. And all of us, everybody here, as you said, pulled together, people doing things that they had never done before, in ways they'd never done it before, at a scale they'd never done it before. But we have discussed as a board, moving forward with some of the implementation even before this, things that we knew that we were going to have to do. And in talking with other regional partners at meetings and things, the 23 affected counties as we've come together, the commissioners at each and every one realized that as we analyze this and mitigate future needs and try to build resiliency into our planning, that one of the hardest things is to and we've discovered this in the past, but it's especially true now, is to budget for things that you hope you never use. And it is much easier to budget for, you know, brick and mortar and things that you can feel good and fuzzy about. But it's very hard to build resiliency and budget for things that you really hope you never have to use. And that's going to be a mindset change that we're going to have, when it comes to budget time, to have to deal with. And that's going to be hard to overcome, because some of the things you say are not expensive, some of them are very expensive. And just in anticipation, even 3 years ago, we spent $1.1 million on radio upgrades, you know, and thought, man, we're good. And we were until we weren't. But it's, and it is a learning, you know, again, talking to other counties, everybody's facing this, realizing there's things that, and we were, you know, every building we do from now on is going to have emergency power, it's going to have redundant communications, you know, all that costs money to do and planning, but we will never be able to mitigate all future risks, but we certainly hope that we learn from this in order to do a better job being more prepared. And this was, when I first got this, it was hard to read. The reality of the situation was everybody was doing everything it possibly could in the moment. And we just have to be better prepared for the moment.
I appreciate your effort and everything you've done for us on this, because I think the whole community and the whole county realized that we had to be better the next time around. I think everybody stepped up, done a great job. Our county employees that work out of their comfort zone. The volunteers in this county were amazing. They got out, they could run a chainsaw, they were cutting trees, they were clearing land, they had a piece of equipment, they were working. But for us, we've got to make sure that we learn from this storm to make us better for the next one, for sure. And like Deb was saying on budget, when you go out here and you buy a piece of equipment and it sits somewhere for 2 or 3 years, and people say, well, why spend money on that? Because Elaine taught us a lesson that we've got to be prepared for whatever happens, and I appreciate your hard work on this.
I heard a statistic from American Flood Coalition saying that every dollar spent on resilience planning equals $13 on future expenditures. So we have to really think of it in that way moving forward.
Any questions from you guys? You can ask them, please.
I'm open.
You can ask them. Okay.
Well, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for allowing me to do this project. I've met a lot of new faces, a lot of new friends, and many of them have my numbers, and if there's anything I can ever do for any of you in any way, shape, or form, if it's 2 in the morning on a Saturday night, pick up the phone and call me, and I'll do anything in the world to help y'all. And thank y'all very much for the time, the opportunity. And I'm gonna go be a tourist in your community for the next couple of days.
Spend money.
Yeah.
My wife spent plenty today. She probably bought you a new ambulance. Thank y'all.
Okay. We can move on to 3.3, D, Avery County Opioid Settlement Update, Ms. Sarah Price. So, come on up.
Hello, good evening. How are you guys tonight? So I gave you guys before the meeting a little packet, so I'm going to primarily be going over that handout. And I did share that handout with all of you guys as well, so you guys can kind of sort of follow along and take it home with you if you want to. So tonight, I'm primarily going to be giving you guys the final update for fiscal year 24-25. And I fully recognize though that we are a quarter all the way into fiscal year 25-26. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about the new fiscal year that we're in. But the handout that I've prepared for you guys and the little update is for the fiscal year that ended June 30th of this year. So for that fiscal year, for this last fiscal year, fiscal year 25, there were 4 nonprofits that received funding. This is a total of $182,250. Commissioners, as you're well aware, you need to authorize this funding by strategy. So on that handout, I've listed the 7 strategies that for fiscal year 24-25 you authorize funding under. And those are the totals. So those totals, though, are going to be across all 4 of the nonprofit organizations. For an actual breakdown of each nonprofit's strategy, I can get you that information. It's not on the actual handout broken down that specifically. But I did also provide you, just as a reminder, an update of how much you guys, the county as a whole, is going to be receiving. So of course this is over 18 years. So far the county has received a little over $1.2 million. It's a little less than 38% or so of the total that the county is supposed to be receiving. Caleb manages that funding, has it in an account that is interest bearing, so there is a little bit of money in addition to that $1.2 million that the county has received. But of course, you are in your 3rd year of grant funding, so some of that $1.2 million then has gone back out the door to these nonprofit organizations, and then the interest, of course, goes up and down depending on the time of year and how much money is in the account. So if you want a more updated number in terms of like how much today, I can work with Caleb and we can get you that information. But so far, you've received a little less than 38% of the total that the county is going to be receiving. Do you have any questions, I guess, before I jump into any updates on the actual nonprofits that received funding? Okay. So I'm just going to go in alphabetical order. So Freedom Life, Avery is the first organization. In fiscal year 24-25, they received $56,250. That was over 2 different strategies, collaborative strategic planning and reentry programs. Just a little bit of an update. So in that fiscal year, they served 116 clients. There were over 2,100 miles of transportation services that were provided. So that was anything from running clients to appointments, helping them get to a job, access community resources, whatever it may be for their clients. And that was over the full year. For the Elk Park Community Hub, I do want to clarify that that was something that was in the planning stages that at the close of this fiscal year. Now, a quarter of the way into this new fiscal year, it is open. They have started doing some things. And so that is actually getting that a little bit more like launched off the ground is a fiscal year 25-26 goal of Freedom Life. So I did want to highlight at the end of the fiscal year that they were working on plans for the Elk Park Community Hub, but nothing had officially, been launched yet as of the close of the fiscal year. Their ministry team still continues to do quarterly visits in the jail, meeting with incarcerated individuals, sharing testimonials, and if they would like connections to resources or connection to Freedom Life Ministry resources or Freedom Life Avery resources, they can do that as well. They also then, on the flip side of that, work on the community side we've talked a lot about, education of the community, and kind of this destigmatizing of, formerly incarcerated individuals. And so Freedom Life also has been doing some presentations at local churches to help basically share some testimonials, some really exciting things that are happening with some of their clients. So they're kind of doing both sides of that. They did hold a reentry simulation that actually, because of the size of it, it was held in Spruce Pine at Maryland Community College's main campus. They had over 100 attendees, and then if you include all of the volunteers that it takes, I don't know if any of you have ever attended a reentry simulation, or if anybody in the audience here has ever attended a reentry simulation, but it's a lot of people that you need to, so I would guess easily 150, 200 people that, came together to put on this event. They also held their art chocolate and stories event. That's one of their larger annual fundraising events. That was actually held here at the community center. It's an event where there's art from local artists or regional artists that is up for auction. It's a silent auction type of style. There were dozens, honestly, of different types of chocolate, cookies, diabetic coma situation, and then also personal stories from clients. So that was a really successful event that happened. In the last year, they have also hired a full-time case manager. This is a really, really big deal. His name is Jeremy Champion, and if any of you know Miss Milena Ward, she works tirelessly in the jail, but it is instrumental for their team to have a male case manager that can also now assist her in the jail. So there's a lot that's been taken off her plate. There's a lot of new clients that we're really excited, hopefully in their next progress report update for this fiscal year, to share some updates about that too. And then they also partnered with NC Works and had an intern, that worked with them for several months, that they really helped them with quite a few things. And then I will also say that just to highlight, not that this is part of the update specifically, but Live Well Avery, our initiative, as you guys are well aware, I'm sure, but the county initiative working on highlighting some of the awesome things happening here in Avery County. There were several things with some of our partners that were highlighted through our Live Well Avery initiative. And so there are a lot of articles that have come out in the last 6 months in the Avery Journal about some of the really cool things that have been happening. So, there is an article about the Art, Chocolate, and Stories event that you can go read later on. I think the reentry simulation also had an article about that. And then I'll highlight some of those others too as I give you updates. I do want to pause. Are there any questions about the Freedom Life specific project, or I'll jump into High Country and Community Health if not. Okay. High Country Community Health received $50,000 over 2 separate strategies. In that fiscal year, they saw 164 patients, and that jumping down, that was across 5 different providers here in Avery County at the Avery Clinic. There were over 50 Narcan kits that were distributed. And I will say that the hurricane disrupted some of the distribution. So these numbers are only having been collected since they opened their Purple Pantry, which conveniently is the next line down. There is an article as well in the Avery Journal. You can read about the Purple Pantry. It is the first one here in Avery County. It is at their Avery Medical Clinic. And it has all sorts of, honestly, it's more community wellness supplies, but there is Narcan, of course, for overdose reversal, but there's also first aid kits, there's, snacks, there's, information about community resources, things like that. And so we're really excited. High Country Community Health is very proud of having the first Purple Pantry is what it's called. And you can drive by their medical clinic and you can see it outside. It's free, open to the public. Anybody, day or night, can walk up and access any of the items in there free of charge. As I already mentioned, there are 5 different providers. And then in the last year, because of some unfortunate funding cuts in some other grant funding, they don't have a full-time peer support specialist. But we're really excited. Homestead Recovery, working with the MRJC team, has been able to pick up any of that peer support work that's been needed. So there aren't any clients that have been going without peer support services or peer support. So that's really exciting, and High Country Community Health is, of course, very grateful to MRJC and the Homestead Recovery team for offering peer support here in Avery County. And I'll pause. Are there any questions for High Country Community Health? And both of those organizations this was their second full year of funding. So the last two organizations, this is an update about, they've only done their first year of funding based on these updates here. So next is Marjorie Williams Academy received $25,000 across 2 separate strategies. This was a very innovative program. I know I've updated you guys a little bit about this before. I work closely with Dr. Cindy Austin over at Williams Academy to build a little bit of a program that would fit the requirements of the opioid settlement funds while still offering a really awesome service for students there at Williams Academy. So over that year, there were 11 students that were enrolled in the program. Just the basic criteria of the program is having an ACE score of 3 or higher, as well as an IEP or an individualized education plan. I am not an educator. There are educators in the room that I'm sure would be happy to provide more information on these. I should also say that I gave you guys some extra handouts in your packets, because I never come without some extra reading material for you guys to take home with you. Dr. Austin did provide you a little bit of information on, she provided you the actual assessment, so you can go home and determine what your own ACE score is, as well as a little bit more information on the 11 students and how some of their actual results ended up. And then, of course, I will back up and say the first 2 handouts, they don't say Freedom Life on the top of them, and I should have put Freedom Life on the top. So the first 2 handouts in your little packet thing are from Freedom Life. High Country Community Health has HH or HCCH at the top there. And High Country Community Health also provided you guys with a flyer to take home. So you guys can scan this QR code with your cell phone later on and read a little bit more about their MOUD or MAT program. And then a couple slides about how some of their MOUD or MAT, those are interchangeable, basically acronyms for later. I do not presume to be an expert on any of these things. That's why I'm providing these to you guys as slides for you to take home, take a look at later, and then I would be happy, if you have any questions, to bring the actual experts on these subjects back to you to answer any questions for you. But there's some reading material there for you guys for later. But going back to Williams Academy, there is this super fun, colorful slide with this awesome table here for you. On the back, there is a definition of what all of the columns mean. So I was very confused what boy meant. That is very common, evidently, in the education sphere. That means the beginning of the year. I did not know that. I thought that all 11 students may have been males. I had no idea. So I provided you guys on the back of, I just wanted to highlight for you that that's on the back of your flyer. I didn't print a whole separate page for that. Saved like a little microscopic little bit of a tree there. So anyway, so there is a full-time licensed EC teacher that is working with these 11 students on this program. It is a little bit of more of a one-on-one, individualized program with the students. Williams Academy does partner with a lot of other instrumental community agencies to help understand more of the root causes of some of the ACEs or the adverse childhood experiences for some of these students, and then also some of the students like on a larger scale for the community here in Avery County. I will highlight there were 5 students that achieved 4 or 5s on the ELA is English Language Arts, EOG's end of grades, those fun exams that the students all hate, and then the math EOGs. I will say, Dr. Austin wanted me to highlight that there are some things that aren't necessarily reflective of the EOG scores. So there can be, for instance, the EOGs, like, I guess if it doesn't meet at least a score of a 3 or 4 or a 5, it's basically just not included in the scoring. So even if that student showed improvement, like if they had a 1 and they moved up to a 2, it's still not included in this score. So she did want me to highlight that there are some students here that even though they're not one of the 5 students that did achieve the 4 or the 5s, which is the score that we would like the students to achieve. There were other students that still did personally see improvements. So she did want me to also tell you that she would be happy to come and explain a little bit more about that. There are, of course, other people in the room much more qualified to explain some of those discrepancies, but I did provide all of the scores for the students for you guys to go home and read later on. So I know it's like a very complicated chart. But anyway, that's there for you guys to take home and read later on. Do you have any questions about Williams Academy? I know that that's a little bit more of a unique one, not quite as cut and dry. And they were in their first year of funding this year as well. Okay. Last organization, MRJC, Mediation and Restorative Justice Center. They have 3 separate strategies, a total of $51,000 that was authorized for their first year of funding. They do employ a full-time peer support specialist here in Avery County. So that is the individual that has been partnering with some of our other nonprofit partners that need that little bit of peer support help for some of their clients. They have created, in terms of some of the post-overdose response work, they have created some leave-behind kits. They've been working with your community paramedics, Samantha Knight here in Avery County, to basically, anytime your community paramedic is responding to an overdose, these are being provided as basically something that they can leave behind with the individual. All of the basic necessities that they might need in the immediate hours after an overdose, as well as access to any sort of resources should they want to seek additional assistance. There were 46 clients that they provided with recovery support services, and that was a wide variety of things. And some of that was direct one-on-one client interactions, and then some of that was connecting them with other community resources. So of those 46, there were 165 total interactions with those clients, meaning either phone calls, meetings, times that they sat down and talked one-on-one with the client. And I simply highlight that just to show that this is a little bit of a continuum of care process with these clients. This is not a one-time, we can solve every problem, by sitting down together for an hour. And so this really is something that they sit down and work with the clients long-term over time. There were over 100 Narcan kits that MRJC distributed here in Avery County throughout the year. And I will also highlight their Save a Life Day. That was September 25th. At their Avery clinic, they did distribute additional Narcan. Of course, that's not included in this number. So that was in the planning process, one of those additional things that was in the planning process at the end of this fiscal year, and that happened in their second year of funding now. So of course, the Narcan kits are not included in the Save a Life Day numbers. And then I also did include a little bit of a highlight of the public input meetings that we had in February. We are still talking about a schedule. It is likely to still occur sometime in February of next year, February 2026. TBD on a more specific date. We are still working on our schedule for the next year to hopefully get things a little bit on a faster rollout for some of our nonprofits, and then hopefully we don't have any sort of disruptions in services for any of their clients. So are there any questions about MRJC, public input meetings, or the larger update I provided you as a whole? MRJC also did provide you a flyer for their Avery RV, their Avery recovery vehicle. That is the vehicle that is doing pop-up events around Avery County, and that's one of the primary ways that they've been connecting with their clients here in Avery County. Any questions?
Yes, we do.
There's a whole lot in a short time.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jerry.
I also left you a Live Well Avery flyer as well, so that's not part of my update tonight. Happy to come back and give you guys another update. That's totally other separate funding and a whole other fun little project we got going on, but, or I can invite up to 2 of you at a time to our drug crisis roundtable, unless you guys would like to make it an official meeting. In that case, we can do that too. It happens here. We did move, after the hurricane, we did move our locations here. So that would be convenient if you ever wanted to do that. So, it was a pleasure to be with you guys tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you guys kind of want my water bottle, I'll stick my over.
Move to 3.3, grandfather Highland Games, Stephen Tiller.
Thank you for having me. I'm Steve Quillen. I'm the president of the Grandfather Mountain Highland Games. The 11th president that we've had since 1956, so that's not too bad. I've not had a particularly uneventful presidency. Had started off with COVID, and then we went to tree disease and the hurricane, and you know the bomb, all that sort of stuff. But I wanted to come and talk to you because you know what? We're still here, and we are still in there kicking. And I wanted to try to raise awareness a little bit about the Highland Games and our role in Avery County. We are one of 2 Highland Games, to my knowledge, that is a $1 million Highland Games. Our revenue each year exceeds $1 million, and that's important. We had, when we talk about tourism and impact and that sort of stuff, we're the largest festival in Western North Carolina. We're wholly self-sufficient. We don't receive any funding from the state or the county or local communities or anything, and we're proud and happy to do that. We had visitors this year from 48 states, including Hawaii and Alaska. And so we're sort of unique in that we are in a special way, we are able to spread the word about this wonderful little corner of the earth that we have here in Avery County, far and wide. This year it was especially important, I think, that we had a games. We fielded a lot of questions in the office from out across the country because those questions came from national television broadcasts about the damage from Hurricane Helene. Do you have to have a 4-wheel drive to get up to McRae Meadow? No, we have a mule and a wagon, but and then so we felt like we made some inroads on that. And then the 6-month anniversary of the hurricane came, and what was on the television? No repair, no bridge replacement, just pictures of all the flooding. And so, you know, one of the things that we were in the business of trying to do was to educate people out across the country that certainly things weren't back to normal, but that the mountain communities in North Carolina were back in business. And we bring somewhere between 40 and 45,000 people a year here. So for 4 days, we're the largest city in Avery County by far. I'm very proud of the relationships that we have with Avery County, with Philip Barrier, with the sheriff, with the emergency management, with EMS, with Debbie Smith and Avery Transport. We use all that, and we're really proud of that. I didn't feel like that we had that sort of exposure or relationships with the county commissioners, perhaps with the exception of Commissioner Aldridge, who spends a day or two driving shuttle buses every year for people going up the mountain. But I spoke with Commissioner Young last week, and we had just a short little discussion, and thought that it might be a good idea for me to come and talk to you a little bit. Our board has a spend in Avery first policy. So we take in $1 million, we're a nonprofit. We essentially lay out $1 million each year. And we do as much of that in Avery County as we can. There are some significant contracts that we place outside the county. Porta-johns, because there's not a, you know, the tent rentals and so forth, golf cart rentals. But where we can spend in Avery County, we do. And I wanted to highlight a little bit of the spending for just 2025 with you. We are just coming off the completion of a capital improvement program at McRae Meadow, and the 2025 share of that was $84,000. The materials and the labor were contracted totally in Avery County for that money. We also paid out $41,500 for tree problems at McRae Meadow, and that's the beech fungus and the emerald ash borer mitigation that we paid for. Our salaries each year, most every one of our employees is seasonal, but a lot of them are Avery County people. We go to the high school and employ a bunch of teenagers and so forth, and so our salaries run to $250,000 a year. We've got a shuttle contract off Sugar Mountain for $45,000. We put on a little party down in Banner Elk for the patrons, and that's $55,000. We tie up about $12,000 between EMS and Avery Transport, and we rented $14,000 worth of hotel rooms in just Avery County this year. We're really looking forward to the advent of more hotel space in Avery County, because I'll guarantee you the Highland Games will put people in those beds every year. I'm talking about the hotels that are under construction. We spent $71,000 on Hurricane Helene mitigation. We came through Hurricane Helene embarrassingly well off. And yet still, between our warehouse properties, our office building, McRae Meadows and so forth, still ran to 70 grand. And we put that money with every cent of that repair went to Avery County contractors and Avery County material purchases. One of the things that I want to talk about the most, that I am most proud of, is the support that we give the high school. We have a scholarship program, and we also have a program where we allow different Avery County groups, we have them work for us, and then we pay them, but we pay the school in honor of the cheerleaders. We pay the school in honor of the basketball team and so forth. And so this money then goes to fund basketball camps or uniforms for the cheerleaders and that sort of stuff. And so it's earmarked for those teams. And it's a wonderful teaming experience because the kids and their parents have to come participate and they're not being paid individually. It's the great do it for the good of all sort of team lesson. And it's the high school's just really, really strong behind that. Would you guys be surprised if I told you that amounted to $44,000 in 2025? It'll be $48,000 next year, and we continue that every year. You gotta sell a lot of chocolate cakes in downtown Newland to get $48,000. We've also got some civic group opportunities for people that, they park cars and that sort of stuff. I didn't mention the funding opportunity that the Cross North Fire Department gets. I mean, that's your major fundraiser for the year, each year. And so my point is, we've got a lot of tentacles out and a lot of good partners in the community of Avery County. And as we push forward as a county for the tourism stuff, I'd like for people to think about the games because, as I said, we got people from 48 states coming to the games. We don't draw well locally, and I wish we drew better locally. But we draw really well from Texas and Michigan and California and so forth. And if we were able to include some mailings or something like that, and don't just visit Avery in July for the games. Come ski on December 15th or something. I would like for the games to be considered as a vehicle to help that sort of thing. I am obviously enthusiastic about the Grandfather Mountain Highland Games. We are the largest gathering of Scottish family societies in the world, right here in Avery County, by a large margin. We're known worldwide, and we try to make sure that Avery County is known worldwide as an adjunct of that. We talk about Avery County all the time. And so I'm very enthusiastic about the games. I came to the games in 1968 when I was 15 with my parents. It was a bucket list trip for them. So they never came back and I never left. Next year I could drive, so so really, again, the purpose of my talk here was to just try and acquaint you guys with some of the stuff that you might not know about the games, and to remind you that the games is there, and we would be happy to be leaned on and to cooperate in ways that might help the whole community. And to also ask for your support. I can't even win the Best Festival in Avery County award. That always goes to the Woolly Worm Festival. It may be because the people judging it put it on, but I don't know. But anyway, I thank you. Are there any questions or comments? If not, I have a question. Do you have any idea what kind of sales tax bump the games provides? I know that it must be one in July.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening in July for Avery County. I couldn't split out the Highland Games effect exactly. I do know July and October are two of our best months out of the year for sales tax revenue.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think the Grandfather Mountain Highland Games is the largest contributor to July. Because I don't think we got people coming from Montana to participate in the 4th of July parade in Banner Hill. So it's, we put down a pretty big footprint fiscally. The state of North Carolina says we're about 4.5 million in the high country. And I want this to be, though, more than just a consideration of our fiscal footprint. I want you to understand that at this point, this is our 70th year, 2026, and we look at ourselves as first and foremost citizens of Avery County, and I'd like for you all to think of us in that same way. Any questions?
I will applaud the games this last year. The weather was not kind.
No?
This past year, and had to pivot on several points of logistics, and in the midst of that, it continued. And I applaud all those who were a part of that and that recognized the need and proceeded on, and I thought that was admirable.
Well, we made that happen once we could see that the repairs were not going to support the major plan, the first plan. We got together with everybody in the mix, Sheriff's Department, Highway Patrol, Crossmore, the Sugar Mountain Shuttle Bus, and so forth, and put together another plan. And it worked like a top. So,
I only regret that I did not get to give people the gift of riding up Old Yonalassee Road with me.
I know, but that road wasn't gonna take 150 bus trips. Somebody was gonna go down that bank. So, again, anything else? And I appreciate that, thank you. Look, I'm happy to go anywhere and talk about the games. I love the games, and hopefully that comes through clearly. And y'all get up and come to the games. I mean, we'd love to have you, all of you. Except Dennis, don't get out of that bus. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
To 3.3F, Michelle, I'm gonna let you take it.
Sure. We've got a series of resolutions here regarding some surplus property by the Sheriff's Department. The first resolution is conveying property by private sale within the meaning of North Carolina General Statutes 168, 266, and 267. And what this is that the Sheriff's Office is in possession of surplus shotguns and rifles, and these are items that the Sheriff's Department have acquired. They're not evidence from a case or anything like that. And as the board can see, these are all listed on a memorandum that's attached to the resolution. The sheriff would like to give the officers who were issued these weapons for use the opportunity to purchase them. That would be each member of the Sheriff's Department who were so issued those weapons would have an opportunity to buy one shotgun and one rifle. And the board can set the minimum price, which the sheriff has indicated would be $150 per shotgun and $300 per rifle. So the board would first declare these items as surplus property and then indicate that those items can be sold by private sale by the sheriff. The copy of this notice does have to be published before any sale is completed.
So we need to.
So you need a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the resolution on the sales of these shotguns and rifles.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then under agenda item 3.3G, there are 3 resolutions. The sheriff has deemed certain tasers to be surplus property, and ask the board to declare these to be surplus property, and there are 3 resolutions, because these are being conveyed to other units of government. The first one is conveying to the Mitchell County Sheriff's Office, the second to the Spruce Pine Police Department, and the third one to the City of Valdez Police Department. So the board in that case would be declaring the items as surplus property and that authorizing that they be conveyed for no consideration to those other governmental entities.
So is that
So,
the resolution for that one too?
There are 3 resolutions.
Yeah, so we need to do them
So
at the same time?
you can make a motion to declare the property surplus and approve all 3 resolutions.
Need a motion?
Second.
All in
And,
favor, say aye.
but I would like to point out that based on the discussions with Sheriff, the tasers are models that are no longer used by the department and are not in keeping with the current rotation of equipment. So this is not current stock that is merely being moved out. It is what is no longer serviceable that may be utilized by another department.
Yeah.
Now, there's one additional resolution. This is item 3.3H. And this is a resolution to approve the demands of discarded property. There are 4 tasers that the Sheriff's Department is asking to be declared as surplus property and to be deemed as discards. These would be conveyed to the Land Harbor Police Department. And in order to determine that they would be discarded instead of conveyed to another governmental entity, the board would have to find that the sale of these tasers to the general public would pose a potential threat to public health and safety, and that would allow them to be discarded.
So we need a motion to determine if that would be public.
A motion to declare that they're surplus and they be discarded and to approve the resolution.
Okay.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's all.
That's good. Let you handle that. You've been here a while, haven't you? Okay. So we'll move to 3.4B, Finance Officer Report, Mr. Caleb.
All right, good afternoon, Board. I have several items for your consideration this afternoon. It's been a busy few weeks in the Finance Office. Item number 1, the Avery County Sheriff's Office has received a grant from the International Association of Chiefs of Police for Victim Services position. This grant will cover the position at 100% for 3 years. It was 2 years, and there was some excess funds, and they were able to extend that for a 3-year period. This budget amendment is to recognize the 3rd year of the grant. Request the board to accept the grant and approve the following budget amendment to debit grant salary $40,187, FICA administration $3,075, retirement $6,045, 401k retirement $1,205.61, supplies grants $8,570.39, maintenance contracts $5,000, and to credit IACP grant $64,083.
Need a motion to approve.
Move to approve item 1.
Need a second. All in favor, say aye.
Item number 2, the Avery County Sheriff's Office has received a small rural tribal grant through the Justice and Security Strategies Organization in the amount of $14,566. This grant is to fund body cameras for the Sheriff's Office and jail. Request the board to accept the grant and approve the following budget amendment to debit capital outlay equipment $14,566 and credit law enforcement support services $14,566.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The Avery County Sheriff's Office has entered into a cooperative law enforcement agreement with the USDA Forest Service for support services within the National Forest area located in Avery County. In exchange, the Forest Service will fund salary and equipment expense. Request the board to approve this agreement, funding agreement, and adopt the following budget amendment to debit salary deputies $25,000, debit capital outlay equipment $40,000, and credit Pisgah law enforcement agreement $65,000.
Need a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 4, the Department of Social Services is requesting additional funding for travel due to increased training requirements and travel expenses. Request the board adopt the following budget amendment to debit travel $12,000 and credit county welfare $12,000.
Need a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 5, the Transportation Department was not able to purchase a base radio system upgrade that was budgeted in the FY 2024-25 fiscal year. They're requesting that the money be rolled into the 2025-26 fiscal budget. Request the board to adopt the following budget amendment to debit capital outlay $57,000 and credit fund balance appropriated $57,000.
Motion to approve.
So moved, item 5.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I will preface this by saying this is in part from what we've already seen earlier tonight about resiliency and preemptive planning for future disasters. Item number 6, the Department of Buildings and Grounds is requesting funding for the purchase of an emergency generator that will power the county fuel pumps in the event of a power outage. Request the board approve the following budget amendment to debit Buildings and Grounds capital $15,150 and credit fund balance appropriated $15,150.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 7, the Department of Buildings and Grounds is requesting funding for the paving of the new senior center property. Request the board approve the following budget amendment to debit capital outlay paving $7,000 and credit fund balance appropriated $7,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 8, it was brought to our attention that the Agriculture Extension Office was notified from North Carolina A&T University that it had not been correctly compensating one of our county's extension agents. They have agreed to correct this and issue back pay if the county would fund their portion of the agent's salary. This is no fault of the county or our Ag Extension Office. Request the board approve the following budget amendment to debit salary extension agent $8,066, FICA administration $617, retirement $1,116, and credit fund balance appropriated $9,799.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 9, the Department of Emergency Management is requesting funding for the purchase of replacement desks and furniture that were destroyed during the flood. The county received insurance reimbursement funding for destroyed building contents in FY25, and those funds were rolled into fund balance at the end of the fiscal year. Request the board to approve the following budget amendment to debit supplies $7,500 and credit fund balance appropriated $7,500.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Need a second.
Second. I'll move it. Second
All in
vote.
favor say aye.
What do you think?
Got it.
The Avery County, item number 10, the Avery County Sheriff's Office received a state budget grant in FY23. Due to a sales tax reimbursement, there are some remaining funds that can be spent for law enforcement support supplies, and the state has said that we have to the end of this current fiscal year to make those purchases. Request the board to approve the following budget amendment to debit capital outlay expenditures, Sheriff's State Budget Grant Fund, $1,409.94, and credit grant fund balance appropriated $1,409.94.
Need a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 11, you'll have separately there for you. The Avery County School System received state funding to replace the HVAC system at Cranberry Middle School. This funding will need to pass through the county and be distributed to the school system. Request the board to approve the following budget amendment: to debit Avery County Schools capital outlay $510,955 and to credit state grant revenue $510,955.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 12, and the last item I have for your consideration, the Avery County School System did not submit to be reimbursed for the last invoice for the high school kitchen renovation project in FY25, but now they have submitted for reimbursement for the final payment for this project. Request the board approve the following budget amendment: to debit Avery County Schools capital outlay $160,132.50 and credit fund balance appropriated $160,132.50.
Need a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the last thing I have is just to tag on to the TDA report. So as part of Jana's report, you saw last fiscal year numbers. That was August through June. That was what we received in occupancy tax for our first fiscal year. Obviously, that was not a full fiscal year for the TDA, given that we did not start collecting until August. And this month by month has grown for various reasons, not the least of the hurricane, but also we have, added on people as we've built awareness for the Tourism Development Authority and the occupancy tax collection. As part of my report, I have July and August before you all, just to see the first 2 months of this fiscal year. And just let me give you an updated number for August, because we had a couple come in since I sent this report out. The current numbers for August is $129,591.52. So July and August, you can see August last year, even though that was before the hurricane, was only $75,000, and this year it's $129,000. So that's in part, I believe, due to a rebounding economy since the hurricane, and also just increased occupancy tax collection, because that was very early on in the process. But we hope for a strong September, and our businesses really hope for a strong October as well. And I'll bring y'all more updated numbers as we receive them.
Thank you, Kevin.
One question, the school project, the kitchen renovation, was that on the project ordinance, or was that?
That was not, because we anticipated it would all be done
Right.
within last fiscal year, and I think there was some invoices that was just hanging out there at the end of the year, so it was not on project.
I was just curious if there was anything else hanging in that project ordinance that
Yeah.
we were anticipating.
This should wrap up everything, and we should be done with that.
Okay, thank you.
We understand is the work is complete.
It was just a backlog on invoices, like Caleb said, so.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, thank y'all.
We move to 3.4C, County Attorney Report, Mr. Shelford, you have anything?
I do not have anything else.
All right, thank you, ma'am. 3.5, staff reports and requests. If not, 3.6, no closed session, I assume, Michelle?
I do not have anything.
Okay, and we need 3.7, the approval of minutes for September 9th, 2025 special meeting. Need a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And 3.8 is agenda consent items. And in the consent items is the rural operational
Operating assistance.
assistance program. Yeah, that is it.
The road.
Called road.
Oh, okay.
They, that is in there, and if nothing else will be, those will be approved by consent. So, informational items, you mentioned on there, you got their grant, yeah.